The courtroom was filled with an unusual tension, even in the early hours of the morning. There was something in the air, an invisible coldness that pressed down on everyone at any moment. The flashes of cameras competed with the dim light. The whispers in the hall were barely audible, with the only sound breaking the silence being the creaking of the wooden benches. But then, the doors opened, and Michelle Obama walked in. She was dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit. Her posture was straight, her steps deliberate and measured, her eyes scanning every corner of the room. For a moment, a deep silence fell over the entire room. Michelle Obama's presence seemed to hold meaning on its own. People had known her for years under different identities: lawyer, first lady, activist. But today, she was a defendant. Yet anyone in the courtroom who had underestimated her would soon need to reconsider their thoughts. Judge Alexander Anson took his place at the bench. A man in his middle years, embodying the classic seriousness of the court. "Ms. Obama," he said, his voice softer than expected. "We are here today because of the charges against you: assaulting a federal officer, disturbing the public peace, and failing to cooperate during a routine identity check." The prosecutor quickly stepped forward. He briefly glanced at Michelle Obama, then opened his files. But Michelle Obama didn't move. Her eyes were fixed, her face expressionless. Yet behind her eyes, a storm was brewing, because the truth had not yet appeared on the stage. The prosecutor began listing the accusations. "Officer Joseph," he said, "states that Ms. Obama refused to identify herself during the incident and physically resisted." Officer Joseph stood up, his uniform neat, his face stern. With his words echoing through the room, he tried to paint Michelle Obama as an aggressive, dangerous, uncooperative woman. But Michelle, at that moment, fixed her gaze on Joseph. It was as though her eyes were not only piercing through the words, but through his very soul. At that moment, everyone began to realize that Michelle Obama was not just a simple defendant. She was more than a name. She was a symbol. Her lawyer, the young and idealistic Lily, stood up. This was her first big case. As she held her files, her hands trembled, but her voice did not. "Your Honor," she said, "the charges against my client are gross misrepresentations. This is clear prejudice and systemic discrimination." The judge raised his head. "Your evidence?" he asked. Michelle Obama gently shifted in her seat. "If you'll allow me, Your Honor, I would like to speak for myself." A murmur rose in the room. Michelle Obama walked to the stand. The calm in her voice was in stark contrast to the storm inside her. "That day," she began, "I was at a supermarket. I had gone out to buy milk for my brother. At that moment, Officer Joseph approached me, and he deemed me suspicious not because of anything I had done, but simply because of the color of my skin and my refusal to immediately show my ID. The judge furrowed his brow. "But Officer Joseph says you were aggressive." Michelle shook her head. "I wasn't aggressive. I only asked a question. I asked, why? I asked, on what grounds?" But as a woman, a black woman, even asking that question was considered a threat. Lily stood up, pulling an old file from her bag. Documents, medals, official certifications spilled out. "Your Honor," she said, "my client, Michelle Obama, has been practicing law for almost 10 years. During this time, she has fought tirelessly for justice and the people of this country. She has served as a top legal advisor and has been successful in many high-profile cases." A silence filled the room. The judge's hand was on the gavel, but he did not strike it. Michelle Obama slowly opened her jacket and showed the emblem on her collar. "They called me undocumented. They called me suspicious. But I fought for the security of this country. For 10 years I chased justice, and all I ever wanted was to live in peace. But peace sometimes comes with a fight." The prosecutor wanted to object but found his words stuck in his throat. At that moment, Lily walked forward, holding a USB stick in her hand, and walked toward the prosecutor. "The footage is here. The cameras at the scene were working that day. And we have a video that shows everything." The screen lit up. In the silent video, Michelle Obama could be seen exiting the supermarket when Officer Joseph stopped her. Then, the moments played where Joseph shoved Michelle, grabbed her arm, and without justification, forced her toward the car. The courtroom froze. Judge Alexander removed his glasses. Slowly, he stood up. "Ms. Obama," he said, "it appears today in this court, we are witnessing a trial not only of you, but also of justice itself." The prosecutor bowed his head. The judge struck the gavel. "All charges are dismissed. An internal investigation into Officer Joseph will be initiated immediately." Lily turned to Michelle. There were tears in her eyes, but a smile had also appeared on her face. "We did it," she whispered. Michelle Obama briefly returned the smile. "No," she said. "This is just the beginning, because this wasn't only my fight. This was the fight of all the silenced voices." As she left the courtroom, the looks that followed her were not just of admiration. There was respect and hope. Outside, young women waiting for her, holding signs that read, "Justice for Michelle," began walking silently behind the woman who had now become an inspiration. Michelle Obama paused, looking up at the sky. "Truth," she whispered to herself, "always comes to light, but only if you're strong enough to protect it." And at that moment, everyone understood. Michelle Obama was not just a name. She was a resistance, and this was only the beginning. After the trial, Michelle Obama embarked on a new journey to put an end to the injustices and discrimination she had fought against for years. She realized that the struggles she had faced were not hers alone and decided to establish an organization. The foundation she created would be a beacon of hope for those marginalized and discriminated against simply because of their race. The foundation Michelle founded didn't just provide shelter, it became a center for education and empowerment. Michelle offered not only psychological support, but also legal assistance to those in need. She gave them the chance to raise their voices, defend their rights, and earn a dignified place in society. Her fight against discrimination extended beyond the legal field. She delivered speeches addressing all sectors of society and frequently appeared in the media. She sought to change the minds of people, conveying that Black individuals were not just an ethnic group, but honorable and powerful individuals. Michelle Obama's foundation became not just a refuge, but a source of strength. Today, the foundation Michelle created continues to save lives for Black individuals, and Michelle continues to do everything in her power to create a stronger future.